Hello guys, this is Panzermeister36 and this is going to be part 2 in my StuG Ausf series. In the last video I covered the suspension and the running gear for the StuG, and so far it's looking pretty good. In this video I'm going to cover the rest of the construction and how to put these tracks on. I've done a little bit of work on the superstructure here. It's actually looking pretty good. Only there's a bit of slight fit issues with these hatches here on these sides here, because they're a little bit big and off a bit, but since they're big you could just kind of sand the back straight and they fit right in really nicely. Also this panel here, this panel right here, there was already one molded in, but you had to cut it out because it was wrong and then put this one in. That was a little difficult, but it took me about 20 minutes, so it was pretty good. And the gun's looking pretty good. Obviously not as good as a metal one, but it's actually quite good for an older kit. The gun is nice and hollow. There's a bit of a mold seam kind of along the front of here because it's two parts to go together, but you can just fill that like I did, and it looks pretty good. So yeah, now I'm going to work on the other side of the tracks. So for the tracks on this side of the hull, I used exactly 97 links, which is 2.5 of these sprues minus 3. And there's 6 of these sprues, so obviously you get a bunch of extras. I found that cutting the tracks off these sprues, it's not as hard as you think. You just kind of clip them through and they come off nicely. You just gotta sand them a bit. So basically you get the same detail as magic tracks, just you gotta cut them off. So obviously I prefer magic tracks to these ones, and I also prefer DS tracks to magic tracks. But still, these are pretty good. It takes longer, but not bad. Alright, so this is 97 track links. So over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue them together in the normal way you would attach magic tracks. That's basically what they are now. And I'm not going to do it all in one length. I'm going to do it maybe in about 2 or 3. Because if you do it in one length, it might harden by the time you're done. So you won't get like slack, and it'll kind of go up and stuff like that. Also, but if you do it my way in sections, make sure that you start at the bottom and kind of work so you meet up at the top, so that if you're off a bit you can make it like have a little more slack and put in another link, instead of meeting up here at the bottom and being off by half a link and then you can't really do anything because you can't add slack in the bottom because the ground's in the way. So basically what you do is you line them up on top of each other. I'm not sure if you can exactly see how I'm doing this because the wall, the little lip here is in the way, but basically what I'm doing is I'm just stacking them one on top of the other like this. They just kind of slide in. And then after you line a whole bunch of them up, then you can take your extra thin cement, or whatever type of glue you use, but you should use one that is this type. It flows nicely because it will get in the gaps, and you just kind of rub it along. It goes into the gap between them, and it'll harden pretty fast. So I've done a length of track here for the bottom, and I'm gonna hook it around the wheels. So I put the rest of the tracks on. I actually put on another length along here, and it stopped about there. And I put one over here. And then it met up really nicely. I used exactly 97 links again. And yeah, it looks pretty good. These tracks are, well, they're as detailed as magic tracks. They just are hard to get off the sprue. They're pretty good. Alright, so I just built the top of the hull, which also includes the inside of the superstructure here. And it was very easy to build. All you had to do was put this platform here for the commander to stand on, this periscope mount here, the gun attachment part, and there was a piece along here that already had these hatches molded in. These hatches here were also already molded in. All you had to do was cut off these little kind of pieces they had on them sticking up. So yeah, now I'm going to paint the inside of it black. This area here, because when you put the superstructure on, This hatch here, I'm going to leave that open so the periscope can stick out, and you're going to be able to see inside a bit, so I want to paint the inside black. Also, that viewport on the front right there beside the gun, right here, that's always open. So I sprayed the inside of the tank black with this color. It's Tri-Art Carbon Black. It's not really a modeling paint, it's just for airbrushing. Usually I use this kind of paint to paint my models and just make my own mix. But for this one I think I'm actually going to buy a specific paint color because I'm going to be painting it a desert tone for the Africa core. So now I'm going to put it back together. I just completed the assembly of the upper hull, and it looks really good. There's not a whole lot of small pieces, but there are a few, like over here and here. There's a couple in the back here, which I recommend you put on before you attach the superstructure, because you have to put them under the edge. But it's looking really nice. The gun looks nice on, and I masked off the parts where I painted on the inside. And I just got a really good idea for how to add shell strikes, so I'm going to show you that. So what I'm going to do now So the shell strike damage that I added actually looks really good. I have like a ricocheting shot here, another one up here, a third one over here that kind of clipped that on its way up, and also one that hit here but didn't penetrate all the way through the armor. I'd say that this technique is actually pretty risky because you could go right through the thin plastic and basically destroy your tank, basically. But if you want to go for it, I recommend you go for it because it looks really, really good. I'm going to try this again on some other models. So I just installed the fender and all the tools on it on this side of the vehicle, and now I'm going to do it for the other side. Here's the completed model before painting. It looks really good. The tracks look really nice, and so is the suspension. The texture here on the fenders looks really good. The texture kind of here, the molding. It's pretty good. It's a bit thick in some parts, but not bad. The weld seams look really good. And overall, it's a really nice kit. For the stowage here on the back, these are all just parts from a Tamiya kit, they're Panzer II Ausf F/G. And I just kind of glued them on, along with some parts from the kit itself, like this wheel here, extra tracks, and some machine gun ammunition that came with the crew. The rope that I used to attach it is a string I found on the floor in my kitchen. I don't really know where it came from, but it worked. And I attached it on with the Tamiya extra thin cement, which actually glues string on really well. And if you rub it on the string, it keeps it rigid. But overall, the kit looks really, really nice. I would recommend it to really anybody. So that concludes part 2 in the StuG Ausf A series. This was a really good kit. Overall, I rate it probably about a 7.5 out of 10. Because it had good detail. It doesn't have rubber tracks. It has individual link tracks, which are okay. I prefer them to the Tamiya rubber band tracks that you usually get. But still, they're a little bit annoying. It didn't have a lot of photo etch parts, and also didn't have a lot of parts in the kit, probably about as much as you'd see in just your average Tamiya kit. It also had probably the best dragon instructions I've ever seen. They didn't miss a single part in the instructions, and they were really easy to follow. The figures it comes with here, they're okay. They're a bit thick, and I wouldn't use them because they don't really look very realistic. But the commander figure that it comes with for the tank, he's really good. You get 2 bodies also, so if you mess up painting, you can redo it. But he's got really good detail, and he looks really realistic, so he's definitely a keeper. Yeah, so I rate this kit to basically any modeler, advanced, new modeler, or intermediate, because it's a really good overall kit. Yeah. So in the next video, I'll probably be finishing off this kit with painting and some chipping techniques and the decals and stuff. So yeah, hope to see you then. So if you like this video, you could leave a nice comment or subscribe, and you could also give me some ideas for future models that you'd like me to build. I usually do a 1/35 World War II armor. I like self-propelled anti-tank guns and that kind of stuff, but you know, I could try something new. So this is Panzermeister 36. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.